You've been given access to receive messages of clarity, guidance, and love. As channeler, psychotherapist, and author, Noemi Grace has an intimate dialogue with the divine on your behalf. Lisa Berry intuitively listens and expresses the deep questions on people's hearts and elevates the conversation, while Noemi Grace channels divine wisdom and expansive answers to your deepest questions. Each show's themes are related to self-love, self-healing, relationships, and personal struggles, offers tools that will lead to sacred stability and help you find your best solutions. Join us now as we give you access to angels and grace. Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's show. It's a big topic, how to resolve the heart-head split. Noemi, hello.
Yes, indeed. Hi, Lisa. Hi, everyone. Oh, this is such a great topic. Excited to see what unfolds, because as you know, we're scripted except for what Lisa calls the pre-channeled message. When I sit down with Source before the show, a couple days before, and hear what the divine intention is for the starting point of this conversation. And so, other than that, I don't know what's going to show up. So it's always exciting.
Yes. And even in the title right there, how to resolve the heart-head split. So your head is telling you something, but your heart's going, oh, but I want to go this way, or I want to make this decision, or you just simply don't know because you're just back and forth, back and forth. So I know everybody relates to this. And even on a light and fluffy matter here, we all experience this, even when sometimes we say, I really want those potato chips. And your heart says, but you should not eat those. So that was really light and fluffy, but it really does show up in our lives so much that there seems to be this angel and devil, or this, and that makes it sound good and bad, but like there's just two different ways. It feels like there's often two different options or choices and pathways. And we just really struggle to try to figure out how to solve this conflict.
And it's not the angel and devil most of the time, right? Because those are okay. The chips, you can go, and you might say with the chips, well, I have been eating really clean for 2 weeks now. I'm going to have the chips, and that might be what you do. So it's not always a yes or no about the chips, but it sometimes it's not clear where the winner is. Where's the winner? What's going to be the best choice? Because there are choices that have, so to think about a new job, you have 3 offers. How do you decide? Do you go with the one with the most money? That might not be the best choice. Do you go with the one, with the most vacation? Do you go with the one where you felt you liked the people the most, or you liked the work the most? And so it's, there's not always at the front here an obvious winner. Like this is it. This is the $1 million lottery ticket. You just don't know. And yet you can have a knowing about it, but the mind isn't going to find that it knows.
I find the mind does this prioritizing thing. What is a priority now? It's very logical. It's, it wants to take all the data and sort it out that way. And just as in our show description, what we share is that when we are in an internal conflict in our lives are impacted. And I'm going to read our little bullet points here, because then people really get connected here. So when we are in internal conflict, our lives are impacted because we find ourselves confused and lacking certainty. We are unable to access or trust our intuition. That's a big one. We can become paralyzed, fearful of an undesired outcome. Ooh, fear, I can feel it. And finally, we can feel pressured to choose an option so we don't stay stuck. And those are big things that when any of those is happening in our lives, it just feels so unkind, uncompassionate, unloving. We're just like scared. So I'm really happy that we are doing this show to help get away from all these ones.
Yeah. I mean, we've all been at least in one of those at some point in our life, and really mired in one of those. And, it's to not have to go there, to have a different option than being stuck there is so helpful.
Yeah, so our job today, Noemi, this is what we are, our intention is here to show up for everybody that we know how this can rob us of our joy, and we want to be able to reclaim our peace and joy by getting our head and heart on the same page. So, in
Mm,
doing so, could we jump into the pre channeled message and share that with all of our lovely listeners?
sure, absolutely. Just grab a swig of water. So here's the starting point for the divine conversation. I call this How to Resolve Your Internal Splits. Am I loud enough, Lisa?
Yep, I can hear you wonderfully.
Okay, good. We were both too loud at the beginning, so I just wanted to make sure I didn't get too soft. So, how to resolve your internal splits. Return to peace. You must learn to return to peace whenever you feel split internally. When you are internally divided, there's no peace within you in your experience. Yet peace does reside within you, and the only place you can find peace is within. Yet when you're internally split, you're in separation from your true self, your true essence, and your deepest truth. In this space of separation, you can't find your way because any decision essentially leaves part of you behind. You often categorize an internal split as your heart telling you one thing and your mind or head telling you another. Yet this internal schism is not so simple as that. Your mind itself can be split in its evaluation of multiple choices, and your emotions can become a jumbled mess. Yet in this messiness, you can find your way home. And home is where peace resides and your true, unique, brilliant, deepest, truest essence lives. And it's all within you, your truth, your peace, and your best answers. But you must be willing to go within and listen and put aside all of the options that are weighing you down and confusing you, that are causing you to feel stuck and uncomfortable. And to do this, you need to learn to let go of attachment. To do that, you need to get still and present. All the things you're considering and ruminating over are only in the present moment because your mind brings them here. Silence the mind. Bring yourself into a meditative state. In the stillness of meditation, you find your peace. You may say that you don't know how to get there, and we say, then focus on receiving divine love. This will bring you into stillness. There is always stillness at the heart of you. You might not you might need help to access it, and our love is that help. Our presence is the guide taking you into the depths of you where all your best answers reside. And the cost to go there is to leave all your worries aside just for the moment, long enough to access your truth, your deepest wisdom and knowing. And there you will find clarity. But first, can you let go of all that you are struggling with and simply relax into your being? This is necessary for you to find your best answers, and we will show you how. If you allow us, we will show you how. But first, let go of all that you're struggling with and simply relax into your being. This is necessary, I'm reading it again, for you to find your best answers, and we will show you how. Many of you rely on pros and cons list, which can be helpful in many ways, but still can leave you doubting what's the best choice for you. Others of you listen to your emotions and choose what the loudest voice says. And again, this can leave you doubting when you choose based on what holds the greatest emotional intensity. The only way to know that you're choosing what best for you is to listen to the voice of your deepest knowing, which lives in stillness. Can you be internally silent long enough to listen? Cultivate the habit of listening every day, and then when you feel split, you can easily shift into stillness and listen, and know for sure what is best for you. There is a place of deep knowing inside you, and we encourage you to find it. It will save you much doubt, grief, and anguish to know you can rely on your inner answers. First, develop the ability to get silent and listen. Second, learn to leave all of your attachments, worries, and concerns at the door of stillness, which you can enter only through non-attachment. Non-attachment opens the door to your deepest knowing. Learn to leave it all behind so you can enter stillness, which leads to your deepest knowing. And when you have practiced this enough, you will readily access that place of knowing, of intuition, and you will trust the answers you find. And that will free you immensely. But you cannot access your best answers without this practice. Stillness has a price. Letting go of attachments to thoughts, emotions, messages, shoulds, and have tos. And the gift of stillness is great peace. And this peace is your assurance that you are choosing well. And once you have accessed this peace and listened to your inner knowing, then the cost of maintaining this peace is to continue to let go of attachment. Receive the wisdom from within and don't argue with it. As soon as you do, you've left the place of stillness and entered the ego mind, where once again you've become internally split. In non-attachment is great freedom. Freedom to trust, freedom to choose. Nothing and no one has power over you in non-attachment. It's all here for you in this place of peace, knowing, and non-attachment. And then you must honor your knowing through your choices. This causes you to develop greater trust as things begin to unfold in your life in miraculous ways that you could not have imagined. Choose from knowing. It all boils down to this. But first, you must develop the ability to access your knowing. Learn to do this even when you're not internally split, and you empower yourself to consistently make the best choices for you, which will lead to greater happiness and fulfillment. And we are always here to help. In great love, namaste.
It's such a beautiful and interesting pre-channeled message there, because it really comes to, choose from your knowing. And then that's where we go, but I don't know. But we do know when we sit still and are in, and I love this, is how to know, I was like, which lives in your stillness. I missed part of the first line there, but basically it was how to listen to your heart was, it's in the stillness. That knowing lives in stillness. And I think that's so...
Yes.
Because we can feel frantic when we don't know what to do. We can have that jitter, you think, but the stillness is when we can finally go, ooh, I can hear you now.
Yeah. So it's that practice of stillness. It's we need to develop that practice.
Yes.
I started to channel 6 months after I really committed to meditating every day. My husband and I would sit and we would meditate every day for 30 minutes. And 6 months later, all of a sudden, I started to hear Source speaking to me. And it came out of a desire to be able to do so, but also out of the practice of stillness. It's so essential and vital. But for many years, I couldn't get into stillness. So
Yes.
there's always that precursor, that prerequisite.
Yes. A lot of
Learn
people
to
actually
get
say
into
that.
stillness.
They say,
Yeah.
I can't meditate, I can't sit still, I fall asleep, or I get annoyed, or I can't think of the word, like anxious or whatnot. But it is, question then, how many minutes did you both each start off with, you and David?
Well, we were doing like a guided meditation, so it was 20 minutes, and then we would then we wound up staying there for about another, I think David was there for like another 30 minutes afterwards, but I was there for a few minutes after that. And then that place so we started with guided meditation just because we couldn't, and which is a great way for people who can't shut the mind off. So then you listen to that voice rather than the many voices in your mind. And that was helpful. So it was a guided meditation, but then it turned into a mantra. And so saying the mantra really helped. So
I think I remember your journey about this, actually.
Yes.
It's so interesting when our it's not that the mind is wrong. The mind is trying to protect you in using all of its knowledge and information. It's trying to find, the safest logical way. And then our hearts are like, but I want fun and just this joy kind of thing. But then when they do come together, it's so powerful. It's moving. It literally moves you into there's one thing. It says, choose from your knowing. So the choices you make. So once you feel that knowing, once you have it and know it, then you choose from it.
Yes. Well,
I
yes.
think that,
Then the choice becomes clear. Even if you don't have, sometimes the choice that the knowing gives us is not one that we can rationally say, I can see how this is going to be great.
right. Yes.
Yeah.
There's a trust and faith now. You're like, okay, this is what I'm hearing, feeling, but I don't know how it will work out. And a lot of trust has to be there.
Yes. Well, yes. So when you invited me so Lisa and I, we've never
Yes.
met physically in person, but we have met on Zoom and we've met in our hearts. And but Lisa, you interviewed me for my book on your old radio show that you used to do, and then immediately after the interview, you called me, and we'd only talked once on the phone before that, and you said, "How about we do a radio show together?" And and I felt zero pressure to respond with yes or no. I felt normally I would say, "Let me think about it," and I said, and I felt it so because the show had been so amazing. I felt so much peace with saying yes, and I was like, I don't even know this woman, and like she lives in Canada. What if something happens? I mean,
Oh, that was
and it's been
knowing.
this has been such a gift. And so if I went straight, and afterwards I was like, okay, well I guess I just agreed to give it a chance, but I knew it just felt so peaceful. And I had been in a space of channeling, and I don't know if I channeled on that, but I was really accessing the divine. I don't think I channeled there, but you were asking questions and I was accessing the divine. And
Yes.
so I had been in that still place. And then when you asked, I didn't have to take this long, arduous pros and cons and all of that. I knew.
I love that. Well, when we come back from commercials, what I'm going to be asking about, because I can hear it, I can feel it, is about when we're having second thoughts.
Ooh, those second thoughts.
Yes.
That gets every time.
So yes, come back after the commercials to access to Angels and Grace.
The Real Conscious Connection. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
This is Kathy Beal, host of Celestial Compass, featuring astrology you can use. Celestial Compass points you to what's going on in the sky and what you can do with it down here on Earth. We also explore fun, effective, and cosmic tools for navigating this adventure we call life. Join me the first and third Monday of the month at 5 p.m. Eastern Time for Celestial Compass. It's enlightening, entertaining, and empowering.
If I could be you,
and you could be me for just 1 hour.
If you could find a way
to get inside
Each other's mind.
walk a mile in my shoes.
walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out, and for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Oh, welcome back, everybody. Noemi and I are sitting here chatting about what happens when the heart says one thing and the mind says the other. It's a split. And as we went through that, I was thinking about second thoughts. And a lot of us have experienced that. Like we think, yep, made my decision, got it, we're going to go move forward. And then we have second thoughts. And Noemi, a lot of times that can come from fear, right? Or lack of confidence. Maybe some new information has come up or other people's opinions have, bled through. But how do we know the difference?
Okay.
Oh.
Now I know what the problem was. I had turned myself down.
Oh, there you go. I was thinking you're rather quiet.
Yeah, well, It was, I noticed my settings, which I probably should not have looked at during the, that it wasn't using my mic that I have plugged in. It was using the mic on the computer. I said, oh, let me switch it over. I never mess with the settings. I should
That's
know that
okay.
by now.
Were you able to hear what I said though, or no? Do you want me to repeat?
I heard you say something about the second thoughts.
Okay, so yes, so because this might be the channeled message, I do want you to hear this one. So, when we do get second thoughts, like we've made a decision from our knowing where we're good, but then either perhaps we have some fear or lack of confidence, some new information shows up, or other people's opinions get in the way. How do we know when it's some of that, or if our second thoughts are truly coming from our own desires changing, our own path opening up to a different way? Like how do we, I feel like that's a channeled message, but it could be a Noemi comment as well.
Well, yeah. I mean, it feels different, right? But we're so used to, right? We think that the second thought might be something we didn't consider. And
Yes.
so we hear that, but what about, And for me, it's kind of, if it brings in worrisome stuff,
Okay.
then I question
Okay.
the second thought, right? So my example about the radio show, if they came in with like, well, how do I know this woman is like not going to be, how do I know this Lisa woman is going to be some honest person, or how this and that? Then I would really, for me, if it's anxious thoughts, for me personally,
Okay.
I question it. But I'm sure the divine has something more to say with that.
Oh, I would like to hear this. And just before you go into channel, then, my quick story share on this one, because you just reminded me, was yes, a few years ago, few years ago, I was trying, it was funny that we actually make decisions or not, but I was trying to make a decision whether I would be friends with somebody. And I feel like everybody should be given that chance. And if they show up in your life, you're like, well, it's a possibility. But then I was like, I don't know. I've heard some negative things, and I don't know if it's just gossip or, and I was so unsettled with it. It was quite the turmoil, because I didn't want to not only miss out on a potential friendship, but I also didn't want to, throw them aside like, oh no, I heard some bad stuff about you, so off you go, and now they're paying a price. And I did kind of wait, like for myself. What I do is I do look for those signs. I'm like, oh, that was a sign. Something, a show comes on and says something on the topic or something, right?
Oh,
And
synchronicity.
yes,
Oh, interesting.
that's the word. Yes, thank you.
You got
Yes,
excited about that.
I really did. I think that this might be something that it comes through for the channel, but like those second thoughts, if we really are kind of stuck and we're like, well, I thought I knew, but now I don't. How much can we not rely, but synchronicities? Or the intuition? Is it a sign? Is it divine stepping in to help us? So if that shows up, then great. But if not, it's
All right. So we got a whole lot of stuff. So we
Yeah.
will see where the divine wants to go with this. So if you're listening for the first time, I'm going to take a drink of water, and then I am going to get silent and then greet the divine and turn it over to them. And I don't know what they're going to say, but it's pretty exciting to me, and I always look forward to it. Hello, divine. So grateful for your presence here with us. And so there was a lot in this question from Lisa, and from, as she's listening to the questions, the deep questions on people's hearts, about second thoughts and synchronicity, and whatever you feel that we need to hear, or whatever it is that you want to say, however it is, I'm open, we're receptive, and I would love to hear it. And we are grateful for this receptivity. We are open to your questions, and we have answers for you. Each one of you can hear the answers, but you must develop the ability to hear. Your ears have been clogged as if with deep wax, and we are talking about your inner ears, your spiritual ears, the ears that you hear, not what is a sound externally in your world, but what you hear not only internally what is being said to you by you, but also what we are saying to you internally. There is a place of listening. There's a place of knowing. And in that place of knowing, when you bring listening to the knowing, you can hear and find and discover your best answers. So we want to emphasize again the importance of developing the ability to go in within and listen and access that place of knowing, because that will give you the best answers. And as you take the risk, we will say, to apply those answers, and you see how well they work out, you see that there are things that you could not have known about them, that there is so much that they can bring into your life that you had not even anticipated as gifts. And so when you're willing to go with what you hear, because you have developed the ability to hear, that will bring you freedom. But as you are developing this ability, you may find yourself in a place of questioning what you hear, questioning difficulty discerning the inner voice, the true inner voice, the resonant voice that speaks in stillness from the many voices that are speaking sometimes loudly to get your attention, speaking on top of each other, over each other, wanting to gather your attention. And then there is this resonant voice, still because it lives in stillness, peaceful because it brings peace. And that voice may be overpowered by the many other voices in your mind, and the voices in your emotions, your emotional voices that are saying things, that are speaking things to you. And so it is important to understand, to learn to the essence of that still voice, the essence of the voice of peace, to be able to experience that, to feel it, to feel that essence. And that comes as you develop the ability to get still and listen. And when you have the experience of that essence, when you have accessed that essence and you have known that is essence and you have experienced that essence, then you can compare the essence. What is the emotion that comes with the thoughts and the second thoughts and the third thoughts and all of the different voices? What is the essence like? Being able to understand those voices as well. Oh, this is the anxious voice that lives in my mind. Oh, there is the voice of low self-esteem. Oh, there is that voice that is afraid. And you may not label them as such, but if you can really discern and decipher the essence of each voice, that is the essence of the voice that is speaking the option, the solution, the so-called solution, the voice that is telling you what to do, or the voice that is questioning what you should do. Learn to decipher the essence, to discern and distinguish that essence. Is the essence of stillness, the essence of peace, the essence of knowing? And is it unwavering? The other voices, they may go back and forth. Oh, maybe that's not the right choice. Maybe it's this one, maybe that. They have a lot of emotional intensity with them, or they have sometimes almost a bullying kind of quality to them. They want to be heard, so they're loud, and there's a fear quality to them. Oh, don't want to make the wrong choice, don't want to be penalized by making the wrong choice and having to suffer the consequences and the outcomes of that. And so those choices do not speak in peace. Those voices do not speak in peace. Those choices presented by those voices are not harmonious and peaceful. And so when the second, third, fourth, fifth, whatever thought comes in, listen to the essence, feel the essence. Is it bringing you deeper into peace? Is it bringing you into that stillness? Is it bringing you into confidence? And not the ego confidence, but the confidence of knowing and trusting. Can you trust this voice? If it brings you into that confidence, if it brings you into that peaceful place, into that place of harmony where there are no competing voices, if it brings you there, can you trust that voice? And if you are uncertain, we encourage you to take the risk to trust that voice over the other voices. And as you take that risk to trust that voice over and over again, you learn that you can trust the voice and it no longer feels like a risk. It feels like, yes, of course, I will definitely choose this. I can tell. And that is what you want. You want to be able to choose and know and feel complete harmony and peace in your choice. Anything else is bringing you out of that place, away from that place. And if you can discern the essence of it, what is the energy of it? What is the essence of it? Where is it coming from? Is it coming from fear? Is it coming from anxiety, which is a manifestation of fear? Is it coming from some low self-esteem place, an angry place? When you can understand the essence of those voices, and you each have a handful that tend to be louder and more persistent and consistent, when you can understand that, that essence is not the essence of peace. That essence is not the essence of stillness. Then listen for the voice in stillness that will bring you into peace and harmony. And that voice is a voice that you can trust. We guarantee it. In great love, we're complete in this transmission. Namaste.
Ooh, I like where they went.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was really good. So just to help recap that one. Ooh,
Yes, please.
I love I'm going to use the 3D words here. Discern, decipher, and distinguish the essence of hold on a second here, the choice, but no, I changed it to discern, decipher, and distinguish the essence of the emotional intensity, and ask, is it wavering? Is it bringing you closer into peace, confidence, and harmony? Like getting to the essence of the emotional intensity. I love that. And does it bring you? Yes. Oh, and the fun part was at the end where they say, if a voice comes to question the questioning, then take the risk of following the questioning of the question and say, wait a second, I do need to question this. And that's okay to do so. That was fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And just really feeling that that essence was really sweet. And I have to say that I used to go with the complete opposite. You know, there would be a voice in me, like when I felt like I should have said something to somebody when they said such and such, I should have said this, and I didn't, and I was perseverating on it, and it became intense, and I felt like I have to say this. My life, it was almost like my life depends on it. You know, like I have to say this. It was so urgent, and I learned to not trust that urgent voice, because every time I listened to that thing, when I listened to that thing and I would open my mouth, it would come out harsh, it would come out hurtful, and it would come out all wounded. And I felt terrible. The other person felt terrible. And so I learned that emotionally intense voice is the voice I should not listen to.
Oh, but you recognize that vibration of it, and you recognize like, the result, if I keep doing it this way, if I choose this way, even though it's intense, that's a great word, the emotional intensity, like how intense is it? Because intensity doesn't mean intuition. Intensity, it can mean like what you're sharing.
It does not. Intensity is usually some kind of emotional, something, ego attached to it, so that creates the intensity. And so, but it took several times of opening my mouth to say things that were, that I immediately regretted, for me to realize that feeling, the voice attached. When I hear something and I feels that way, I know that that's not healthy. I'm not going to listen to it. I'm going to go and ask for help from the divine and get myself into peace. Because there was no peace with that voice.
Yes. It's interesting. I have a girlfriend. So this is back in the day. Do you guys all remember the cordless phones, and you had your big headset on? And both my girlfriends and I, we'd all have the belt clip, so you could put the phone on your, and then you could do the dishes, you could do the, like whatever. So, we'd have our girl chats. We'd clean the house together. She'd clean her house, I clean mine, and we'd chat for like 2 hours. And we were so very different, because she'd have a problem. She'd come to me and she's like, okay, well, I want to write a list, and then maybe I'll write a letter, and maybe I'll take some time. I was going to think about about this. And I'd call her and say, okay, I've got a problem. We talk about it. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go fix it. She's like, what, right now? I'm like, yep, gotta go right now. Gotta fix it. And so we, two very different ways, but there's an understanding, a relationship, and knowing, okay, I know how, when my knowing's there, I go. But if it wasn't there, then I wouldn't go. And sometimes people need to really sit with it. So I love this, just really getting to know the essence. What a perfect word.
Yeah.
Essence.
Yeah, the essence of it. And it's a word the divine loves in my book, An Intimate Dialogue with God, the Miraculous Power of Unconditional Self-Love, which is really not my book. It is our book, The Divine and I. They love that word, essence. They speak about it so often. And I have come to an appreciation of that word and just the essence of it. What is it? Is that essence peace? Or is it anxiety? Is it harmonious? Is it all turmoil? What is the essence,
Yes,
Learning
I have
that.
to share this. I might have shared this before, but I keep one card on my desk in my vet room here, and it says, "My appreciation of it attracts its essence to me." So I was like, that word, I see that word every day. Where is that word? So my appreciation of it attracts its essence to me. And I wonder if that, just a little hint before we go to commercial, is appreciation. So if we tune into that essence, and then if we could just sit in the stillness and appreciate it, because then I think different choices you'll be attracted to the more aligned choice. I feel like there's like that, just really thinking, I really appreciate this. And this essence feels right to me. It feels harmonious, feels good.
Yeah.
And then as we move forward with that almost gives that confidence that you're talking about. Not like ego confidence,
they
but
brought up
confidence.
confidence. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that, well, we're going to continue this conversation after we come back from commercial break, and we'll get one more channeled message in there. So come on back, guys.
And I won't mess with myself.
Conscious media for conscious minds. OMTimes. Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
Grab a cup of tea or a glass of wine and tune in for Inspired Conversations with publisher Linda Joy on Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern. Linda creates sacred space for leading female luminaries, empowering authors, heart-centered female entrepreneurs, coaches, and healers. A soulful venue where guests openly share the fears and obstacles they've overcome, wisdom and lessons learned, and the personal journey that led them to the transformational work they do in the world. Inspired Conversations to empower you on your path to authentic, soulful living.
So I'm a cat, and I just moved in with this new human, and she's got this little toy she's always playing with, all day long. Tap, 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 bloop, bloop. She can't put it down. There it is. Oh, and get this. She even talks to it. Last week, she asked it for Chinese, and guess what? Egg rolls showed up. Like magic. Humans have cool toys.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
Oh, good. I got my settings right. All righty. Coming back to this.
Mine are here too. Yay.
Yes. And this is just such an interesting conversation. I love when it goes to the places that I don't even come up with in the beginning. Like, how we're just sitting and thinking, well, how are we going to, help people get their hearts and minds on the same page? It's like almost seems impossible because we think, well, how do we dive in to find out, well, how is it we do it and how does it turn out? And the word just coming up over a commercial break there for me is just the word trust. A lot of trust word. And it is it is paired with that word or term of letting go of attachments, because that's what, we have to, in order to trust, we have to let go of having a desired outcome, having all these things, but we still can want the desire, the desire. You know what I'm saying? So we have this choice. We have a few choices in front of us. We can have a desired outcome. We're not saying to not have a desired outcome. But let's talk a little bit more about what that attachment, how can we recognize that we are attached to it?
Yes, that's true. The pre-channel message spoke of that non-attachment.
Yeah.
And, when it's like, if you want it more than life itself, that kind of feeling, for sure you're attached. But it doesn't have to be that intense. It's if you practice any form of prayer or intention setting, and you keep setting that thing every day, oh, today I will whatever, today. There's nothing wrong with that, but you might be getting a little attached if you're holding it rigidly. And so, because divine might have something better in mind.
Oh, I like that. And the word determination just came up for me while I was hearing that, because somebody might say, when you're determined, I am determined to get this, have this, do this, accomplish it, achieve it, experience it. Are those, what kind of essence does that hold? Is that an attachment essence?
Attachment essence. So now we're going to see that word in all kinds of places. I think, it's Don Miguel Ruiz Jr. wrote this book called The 5 Levels of Attachment. That was really sweet. And he talked about how attachment is sort of, some level of attachment is normal as humans, right? In psychotherapy, you want babies to develop secure attachment because to their parents, that's important. Yes. If they have no attachment or insecure attachments, that anxious attachments, that becomes a problem. So some level of attachment is just inherent in being human, but it is that attachment, that really strong attachment, like I've got to have this no matter what. And he used the example of soccer, where you could, love, or football as they call it everywhere else. You could love the soccer, you could love the game, but you could go to anybody's game and you're happy. And that's like a healthy level of attachment. He took the 5 levels to where you were like, somebody was ready to beat somebody else up if their team won over their team, and because they were so attached. And so it's a great book. It's being able to be with something, desire it, but not have to have it. They talk about releasing your intention into the universe and letting the universe bring it to you or bring something better. Karen Drucker has a song, "This or something better is waiting for me." And so I like that line.
Yes, this or something better. And I'm bringing that back to the word trust. Is it that we're trusting in the divine to bring us something? Are we trusting in ourselves that we're going to be safe no matter what and find joy? Or are we trusting that we're just going to get what we want?
Well, I think we all know we don't always get what we want.
Right. Oh. So where's the trust being placed, and how do we get to that trust? That might be a channel, but.
So rather than the synchronicity coming here, yeah. So
trust.
So where are we placing trust? Where to place our trust?
How and where? Like how to get to it? Like if we're like I'm not trusting of my. So what I don't want to say tools, but like what's our pathway to trust?
Yeah, pathway to trust. I get it. Because and trust is not all or nothing. Right? We trust to a certain extent, and then we hit some kind of roadblock. We can't trust past that, So, but
I like that.
But
trust is not all or nothing.
Yeah. So, all right.
Oh, I like that one. Makes a big thing in my life.
Yes. Okay. So I'm just writing this down to jog my memory for later.
Oh, I'm throwing something in there because something just came up. Sorry, because I was writing the word trust and attachment. If we are attached to it, then is it possible that we do not trust it because we're hanging on, like we're attached? So there's no trust. So does attachment kind of give us that sign to say, ooh, we might be lacking some trust here because you have some attachment going on?
Oh, how interesting. I like the what do they call it? The corollary of that in math?
Yes.
In non-attachment, is there trust? Is there deeper trust in non-attachment? When we have a healthy attachment, or is it easier to trust? And or if we're we're strangling the thing, we're holding on to it so tight, and is that preventing us from trusting? It seems like you do need to have a certain level of letting go to trust. So trust and attachment, I'm writing it down as that. I'm gonna grab that quick swig of water.
I love that. That was good for me. That's good.
Okay, we're going to hear what Source has to say about that, because that just seems really, really juicy. Thank you again, Divine. So grateful. And this is, I could feel something percolating here, so I am going to turn it over to you so we can all receive the gift. And we are grateful for all of you who are listening, and for you, Noemi Grace, turning this over. And there is a gift here. There are so many gifts available to you that you all have not yet recognized and realized in your lives, but they are there. They are right there, right beside you, and they are available. But you must recognize them. You must see them. You must recognize the presence in your life and then choose them. And it is in choosing is great power or disempowerment, depending on what you choose. And so we do like this question about attachment and trust and the relationship and how to deepen your trust, because that is where the crux of it. Without trust, you will live in fear, anxiety, lack of uncertainty all day, all your days, because in trust, that does bring that confidence, as we spoke of earlier. It does bring you to a place where you can be confident, and that the outcome, the results of what it is that will unfold in your life will be good for you. And that trust allows you to trust, allows you to believe that, to embrace that, to receive that the outcome will be good for you. That what transpires based on what you desire, based on what unfolds, based on all of that unfoldment in your life, that it will be good for you. That you can trust, you can believe, you can even have a knowing, this will be good for me. Even though you may not know what it is that you are referring to with that this, because you do not know what will unfold. And so the trust allows you to hold things in a way that allows them to be fluid and flowing. You are not attached, that stranglehold that Noemi Grace talked about. You are not holding it so tight for dear life. You are holding it and letting it flow as if you were holding a river, and it is flowing over your hand. You have your hands in the river, and the river flows over, and you are holding the river, but you are not holding it back. And in that attachment, you hold things back. You hold them back. You hold them to yourself, and they cannot grow and they cannot unfold very well because you are holding them back. Allow that attachment to be that of you putting your hands in the river and allowing yourself to hold the river as it flows through you, through your hands, and by you. And it flows on, and more river comes to you, more gifts come to you, more grace comes to you, more unfolding comes to you. The river is not a stagnant, still point. It is flowing, And it is that flowing kind of attachment of the hands in the river, receiving the river, holding the river, and yet the river moves through and brings more gifts. Maybe there's some leaves that it brings, or maybe some pine cones, or if you are in the ocean, maybe some shells and different gifts of holding in that place of non-attachment. And as you are holding the river, trusting that it will deposit in your hands some beautiful things, some gifts to you, and you will be blessed and you will be benefited by those gifts. So hold like you hold the river and allow the flow. And as you do, as you lessen your attachment, as you become more healthy in your attachment, more fluid in your attachment, more flowing in your attachment, know that the river will bring you what is good for you, what is great for you, what is the best for you, because you trust the flow of the river. And so don't look into your hands and say, there's nothing here, there's just water. Know that something is going to unfold, that the unfoldment is happening. And as you sit there and you practice trust, practice it. 5 minutes of trust. For 5 minutes, I will trust this flow and see what shows up. Perhaps there's nothing external, but internally there's peace, there's stillness. For 5 minutes, I will release my distrust and I will trust this flow. And trust is a practice, it is a development, it is something that you must learn to develop as anything in life that is worth it, except for love. Love comes freely and divine love comes freely. But human love may take practice in some places, and trust is a practice. It is a development. It grows within you as you hold your hands out to that river and allow it to bring to you what is the gift for you. We know that this may be something that is not developed in your experience, but we encourage you to develop this practice because it will change your life and your experience of everything. We love you so much. We thank you for this question. Great love. Namaste. We are complete.
Oh, hello. Oh, I had lots of goodies in there. Oh,
Yeah.
that was just lovely. So, okay, I have to first of all appreciate and say thank you for giving both examples of the northern and southern hemisphere. We've got the pine cones and leaves, but then we have the ocean and the shells. It was very balanced, very inclusive. What I absolutely, what's funny, I heard the words flowing river right before you started channeling. So I thought that was really fun for me. I had a lot of trust in the word. I wrote it down. Actually, it's funny. I was like, come on, she's not saying this right now. It's fun.
This is the second time that happened in the last week with you and me. So,
I know. I love that.
You are developing.
And I'm going to throw something right out. And Noemi, you have no idea. I'm just going to this is a surprise. I loved the term 5 minutes of trust. And I am proposing to Noemi right now on air for everybody to hear. If you would like to participate in a little mini workshop, I think Noemi and I will be putting on a 5 minutes of trust little guided meditation. I think that would be fun to hold that and figure that out.
I would love to do that. And my mother's having surgery on Monday, so we know where I will be for the next 2 weeks. And pretty much until our show on the 13th, or coming back.
Yes, it'll be much
12th.
later.
So
you will be practicing the 5 minutes of trust yourself.
Yes, let's hold that. Yes, let's hold that fluidly.
Down the road.
Right?
Yes.
We will hold that fluidly. I would love to do some mini workshops with you. It would be fun.
Yes.
And full of gifts.
That's the other word I had in my mind going on. It was like when we have trust, we actually receive gifts because we wouldn't know. And I can squeeze this in before we end because I have 1 minute. I was hanging on with attachment to doing copywriting for my own stuff. And another wonderful person came along who's an incredible copywriter, but I was like holding on. I was like, no, I'm going to let this one go. And then what a big surprise and gift. They're incredible. They're way better than I am. And I feel like it was a gift. So lots of gifts and surprises. Yes.
Yes,
Well,
yes.
I think
And I
all of
just
us
love
listening.
that fluid attachment.
Yes.
Fluid attachment. Hold the river. Hold your hands in the river. Attached like that. That's not usually how I attach.
I love that. I'm writing these key words down. And I know that all of us are sending our support and super health wishes and all those beautiful vibrations for your mother and your whole family, Noemi, as we send you off.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I so appreciate that. Yes.
So
So
we shall
that
be
will
back.
be part of the river holding us,
Yes.
taking us through.
Oh, I love that. Well, everybody,
So
we
on the
hope that
13th?
you are flowing. And yes, on the
Yes.
13th is not our show, is your mother's surgery. Yes.
No. My mother's surgery is on the 6th. Our show
That's
is
right,
on
yes.
the 13th.
Our show. So we'll be back on the 13th.
We will be back in 2 weeks, at least setting that intention and having a fluid attachment about it.
Yeah, so beautiful. Thank you so much, Noemi. What a bunch
Thank
of
you,
gifts.
Lisa and Divine. Oh, just beautiful.
Thank you, everyone. We'll see you
Have
soon.
a beautiful day, everyone. Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye.